Not only am I going to narrate my school experiences growing up in a religious cult, I'm going to do it wearing my original, authentic school tie. And later on in the video, I'm going to show you a photograph of myself aged 7 walking home from school. The question is, am I wearing shorts or had I advanced to longs by that time? You'll have to wait and see. And so, it's all to play for. My idea in writing this chapter was to give a flavour of what it's like being a child in a religious cult and going to state school. So, here goes. I started Northway Infant School in Liverpool in September 1971. I was 5 and one of the youngest in my class. My mum took me, and when she waved goodbye, I remember thinking, would I ever see her again? I would have cried, but was distracted by the other children who were howling as their parents left them. From the first day of my school life and for the next 11 years, I had to stand outside the school morning assembly because we had to keep separate from the world. The whole school would walk past me, and as a child, I often felt embarrassed, different, and disconnected from my classmates. Since we could not eat under the same roof as worldly children or worldly people at all, under any circumstances, my 3 brothers and I were not allowed to stay for school dinners. I had to walk home for lunchtime during the 11 years I was at school. I remember the most acute embarrassment when my class went on a day trip once to Chester. I was about 8 years old. For lunch, everyone had bought sandwiches and we sat outside in one of the cathedral gardens. Under the rules of the exclusive brethren, my parents were instructed to give my teacher a note regarding my lunch. The teacher read it and told me to sit about 10 yards away from my classmates to eat my sandwiches. As I ate them, my classmates were all staring at me and talking about me. At that young age, I remember feeling very, very disconnected and highly embarrassed. Looking back, I remember often thinking how my classmates seemed to be relaxed and carefree about their life. They seemed to know who they were and able to be themselves and express themselves. They seemed to be free and enjoying their life. In contrast, I felt hemmed in with the life of laws, rules and regulations, bans, forbidden areas and restrictions. Looking back, I was one screwed up child. One of my abiding memories was my school friends always talking about the television programmes that they had been watching. Were always talking about this thing called Coronation Street. I had no clue what it was. I managed to go through the 11 years of school with no one realising that I actually didn't have a television. I was far too embarrassed to tell them. So I would pick up their comments and talk about their programmes as though I had seen them too. At Christmas time, the primary school put on a cine film, and for some reason my parents allowed me to watch it, or I expect they actually didn't know I was watching them. I remember the great excitement. Definitely the highlight of my school life as I sat spellbound watching these cine films. I remember watching Bugsy Malone, Champ, Toby, a few Walt Disney cartoons and The Land That Time Forgot, which gave me nightmares for 3 nights. I was not allowed to take part in any extra school activities, so never joined in the football team or took part in a play that required rehearsals after school hours. We could play football in the field behind our house with school friends and ride our bikes together, but that was all that we were allowed. Going into a worldly home was strictly forbidden, so I never invited my school friends back to mine and never saw the inside of a friend's house. We were therefore unable to have sleepovers or share birthday parties or Christmas parties with any of our school friends. We also had to be home early anyway for tea, as we had a meeting to attend every single weekday night at 7:45 p.m. Obviously having a girlfriend was forbidden, so I had to suppress my feelings towards girls that I liked, apart from a crush on Miss Jarvis, a history teacher. The first 5 girls that I happened to like also were called Debbie. Just thought I'd throw that one in. Pursuing my interest in them and girls was obviously out of the question. So that was a snapshot of my school life growing up in a religious cult. And one of the things which I remember thinking was that we were the normal ones and they were the weirdos. And the question is it child abuse to bring up children that way and to restrict them from other children's activities